Well, big weekend for Democratic hopefuls on the trail, including Beto O'Rourke's kickoff rallies throughout his home state of Texas. We'll check in on some of those. Meantime, we are starting to see the president focus attention on battleground states. Evidence: his Michigan rally a few days ago, his Nevada trip coming up this week. Bring in Scott Tranter, co-founder, CEO of Optimist Consulting, Republican pollster. Too early yet to begin to look at Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania? Are we starting to see how the president will do against some of these Democrats?
It's not too early. I mean, the electorate is taking in a lot of information. These candidates are doing lots of campaign stops. They're getting themselves out to the electorate, so it's a good way to set the baseline, especially as fundraising picks up. And in Wisconsin, we see the first move in a state the president won last time. He is now behind against candidates like Biden, potential candidates like Biden, candidates like Beto, and candidates like Bernie.
All right, so we've got the Wisconsin poll to look at. We also have Pennsylvania and Michigan that we'll put up there. This is Wisconsin. Joe Biden, 53 to 40.
Yeah, he is figured out, at least if he gets in the race, how to lock down that state against Trump. And that's probably due to his appeal to those middle-of-the-road voters that Trump was so able to lock up last time.
All right, we look at Michigan next here as we go through this list. And these are the three key states that President Trump flipped to win in 2016. Michigan, things are a little bit better for the president. And what's with the 39% on Beto O'Rourke?
So the 39% there is largely the fact that Beto O'Rourke was a phenomenon in Texas and among activists around the country, but relatively unknown in Michigan, unlike Biden, who's been on the ballot and been around, so on and so forth. Beto, we'll see how he does.
Of these three states, the largest electoral gold pot is Pennsylvania.
Correct.
This is Biden's home state. No surprise he would be polling there very well. But Bernie Sanders also pretty close to the president, tied in your poll.
Yeah, well, and Bernie spent a lot of time there in the primary, spent a lot of time, cultivating those types of voters, especially in western Pennsylvania. Everyone thinks Philadelphia is Pennsylvania, and really the vast majority of voters and a lot of the electorate comes out of west of Philadelphia, where those coal miners are, where those blue-collar workers are.
You listen to the new Democratic talking points in terms of the way candidates are propositioning themselves. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Bernie Sanders, and now Beto in this very populist flag. Take a listen to Beto yesterday on the stump.
We must first ask ourselves how this, the wealthiest, the most powerful country on the face of the planet, has found itself in such a perilous position. For too long in this country, the powerful have maintained their privilege at the expense of the powerless.
Almost sounds like codified envy when you listen to it. Elizabeth Warren, add that to the list. Is this because they're polling sound bites and talking points like that and finding that that's what the Democratic base wants, or is it the other way around?
No, it's directly from the polling. We see it day in and day out, especially after AOC had the tax on millionaires, things like that. This stuff polls 60, 70, 80% among the Democratic electorate, and these are the votes these guys are going after right now. It also spurs fundraising.
We tie this back together. It's one thing if it polls well when it comes to the primaries, which is obviously where you've got Beto, Bernie, Warren trying to compete in. How does this poll with those swing voters in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan that you were talking to last week?
It remains to be seen. In places like Wisconsin, it doesn't poll as well. In places like Michigan and Pennsylvania, it's still a mixed bag. I mean, populism, if you don't have $10 million a year, you don't mind taxing people who make more than $10 million a year. So it seems like a safe bet. But we'll see what it trickles down when we start talking about things like Medicare for all, and we start talking about universal basic income, some of these more radical ideas that these guys are bringing out.
Yeah, and also how this stuff polls in Florida, Georgia, Texas, Arizona, states
exactly. Virginia, North Carolina, all these other battlegrounds.
All these other states that Democrats now think that they can flip. All right, Scott Tranter, appreciate it as always. Good to see you, my friend. Kristen?